record on this computer too, so this is exciting. Just wait for it to go live. Drum roll.
Drum roll. And then send to me, of course.
Yeah, that's it. So everybody, welcome to today's podcast. Zach Deane here. This is the Wealth Through Health podcast. I have special guest, Chad Davies. Thank you so much for jumping on, mate. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
For those who don't know Chad, he's actually a cold water coach and author of The Primed Life. He helps people worldwide to gain their health without meds, without supplements, without the gym, and even without calorie counting. So I'm blown away at this concept, but I know it's possible. You know, health coaching for many years myself, I realized that food and exercise was not the end all and be all. There was a lot missing when it came to this formula on health. And so we're going to go through how to boost your immune system naturally, with all things nature. We're going to talk about cold therapy. We're going to talk about mitochondria. We're going to talk about getting grounding and looking at the I guess quantum level and how to tap into that quantum level to heal ourselves naturally. So, you know, Chad today actually went for an 8K run with his kids. He's got 2 kids there in Melbourne. Must have been freezing. You jumped in the ocean, which is cool, which I love that you walk, you talk. And just meeting you the other day, just you're so passionate about this and you really have a fire and desire to share this with as many people as possible. So I know that everyone listening right now will get so much out of this. So please take notes and I really want everyone to leave with practicality, things that they can do today, tomorrow, this week with their friends and family to improve their health naturally. And that's what I'm most excited about too. So yeah, thanks for your time. And I'd love to just start off with, how did you get into doing this? Like what's your story and how did you fall into doing this as a career?
Thanks a lot, Zach. I think like everyone, I wanted to be healthy, and I thought the exercise routine was the right way. And then eating the carbohydrates and carbo loading. So I did many marathons in the Philippines. I've done 4 full Ironman events, and one of them I did in Japan with excessive training, not the right food, and I still completed it reasonably. But my health, I had love handles. I was lethargic. I would sleep after runs, and generally you'd say that I was an unhealthy athlete. And then what I did was I actually changed my food initially. That was the changing point. Cut down on the exercise, and I was able to perform better by doing that. But what happened, I think once I got the good food into my brain, the seafood, the eggs, food that actually helped me and my body functioned more optimally, then my brain kicked in. And then I started to research, was open to the ideas from people like Dr. Jack Kruse and other people like this, that exploded my mind. I realized that exercise and food are really very, very low on the equation. And then I started delving into, just what we know is about the hierarchy, I guess, where what makes the food is more important: the sun, water, grounding. So it's about, I always concentrate on positives. So yeah, I love what you said about giving practical ideas, because I've been there. I've been the unhealthy one, the unhealthy athlete, not thinking so well, and I've made all the mistakes. So which it helps when you can be empathetic with the people who also think they're following the right path. So I made the mistakes, I corrected them. I still make mistakes, but luckily I do more right than wrong, and I keep learning. So I think that's the other great thing as well, is that we'd never stop. I keep experimenting. I keep working out what's best for me. And the run this morning was barefoot as well.
Of course.
So, no shoes.
Why would we wear shoes?
Why?
We'll talk about why not to wear shoes very shortly as well. But that's really amazing, and to know that there is so much that we don't know on this planet, and it just takes a little bit of research from the right people to shift and change potentially everything in our health or in our wealth or in our relationships. Yeah. And so I'd love to kind of dive into that and So you were struggling as an athlete, which I couldn't even imagine doing the Ironmans or anything like that. This must be a lot of training. What was your aha moment transitioning out of that? Because there's probably a lot of athletes out there listening. They're probably feeling a bit sluggish. They're not getting the results in the gym. Like, what was going on for you that made you go, I actually really need to change here? And then what was your next step? Because I think if we can kind of paint the picture for some people and on kind of a strategy, be great to kind of share that with everyone.
Yeah, great question. I think what happened was I've always been good at observing. So I can observe, and I was in the Philippines, I was observing these people and myself training a lot, eating the wrong food, what we know now, the wrong timing of food, not prioritizing sleep. Like there was a midnight run marathon from midnight until 3 or 4 a.m. So just anything like that. So I was observing and I was saying, well, these people aren't healthy. Some people are even dying on these events. So I've seen at least 10 deaths doing these marathons or triathlons, etc., maybe more. So I think that was it. And so I just said, well, I have time to do something different. So I did. I trained less. I went for quality training and quality nutrition. I prioritized my sleep. I stopped wearing sunscreen and sunglasses. So yeah, and then that really helped me along. So I don't know if there's an aha moment as such, but it was just continuing to be lethargic and not be as healthy as I wanted to be, despite doing the conventional way. And just interestingly now, I look after professional golfers, UFC fighters, basketballers, soccer players. So I've actually got clients worldwide, like you said, but quite a lot of them are athletes that increase their performance, their recovery, their longevity in the sport. So that's something I've got my latest clients are in Melbourne. They're two future Australian soccer players called Zach and Jesse. And they're great guys. And they're only 17, but when I gave them the cold water coach and the primed seminar, they really got it. And now they're practicing, and they started school on Monday morning, but they went for a cold water swim at 7 a.m. before school. So, which is pretty cool for two 17-year-olds.
What a powerful way to start the day. So I'd love to delve deep into, this word that some people have no idea about. I think when someone said to me, if you want to understand health and wellness, you got to research mitochondria, because mitochondria releases energy in the body. That's how we create energy. So if I want to have, I think my definition of health is to have energy. And to have an abundance of energy whenever I need it, without relying on other substances and things like this. So maybe what's your definition of energy before we get into this? Oh, sorry, your definition of health.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think it's an energy equation. I want to have energy to play with my kids, to run to a meeting if I have to run to a meeting, to have fun, to appreciate life, to be mindful and not have ailments. So it's really an energy equation. So when I actually talk to my clients, I talk about how can you improve your energy inputs? How do you reduce what drains your energy, your battery? But then that you can do things like cold therapy that increase the energy flow. So you can do fun things like that. But it's really improving that energy. And the benefits from having energy, as you know, is life is wonderful. We can do things, we can enjoy doing activities instead of saying, I'm tired, I'll stay on the couch. So, I'm enjoying life, enjoying my friends, and doing things. So energy, exactly. I agree with you. It's about abundant energy and living. And I think that's why I'm so passionate, because I see a lot of people not living, tired, not making the most of themselves. And the reason why I guess I'm extra passionate is because if that's the adults, the children will inherit that same lifestyle or lack of energy. And it's there, it's waiting for us all. And it's not complicated, it's not expensive. You'll actually save money. So I think I mentioned to you yesterday, I do at least 10 acts of random kindness a day. So I just talk to people, simple bullet points, you know, only if they're open for it. I don't pester them. I just say, hey, are you interested in a little bit of something different? And then when I see the people again, they say, hey, guess what? I lost 10 pounds. Hey, this happened to me. So it's really, it really works. And there's nothing better than having a body full of energy and a brain that works.
That's such a good point. And at the end of the day, you're saying it's just having the energy to live your life. And I think so many people have been putting up with, say, 5 out of 10 in terms of the health. 10 out of 10 is like number one, but some people think that they're at a 9 or they're at a 10, but really their body's at a 4 or a 3.
Yes.
And they don't know how good life can actually be naturally when we tap into this infinite, abundant supply around us. And so let's kind of delve into that in a second, but can you just define mitochondria, define ATP? These are kind of like, when I first got into this field, I was like, these are just big terms. It's a bit complicated and it kind of put me off. So how do you simplify mitochondria and like, what is the mitochondria's function?
Okay, great. Well, what I'll do is I'll answer that question this way. Our body needs energy. So our mitochondria are our energy producers. So in order to get energy, the energy actually just comes in through electron chain transport. So a lot of people think that, that's the food. So, and it's carbohydrates, fats, and protein. But what actually happens is leptin in our brain doesn't factor in a banana or a carbohydrate or coconut oil. It actually counts electrons. So perhaps seafood would be 5 units of energy, whereas simple carbohydrate like a banana is 1, or even bread, which, if it's been poisoned with glyphosate, might be a -1. So it leaches energy from your body. Or vegetable oil, something like that. That's actually a negative. So, but what happens then is when you get those electrons through food, we have to realize that the sun and the ground together with water made that food. So food is just a barcode of sunlight. So we actually get electrons from the sun and from the ground. So the more electrons you get that way, the less food you have to eat. So it's really quite simple. If you want to improve your energy, you're going to improve your sun, your grounding, and the quality of your food, and maybe the meal timing. But the mitochondria then is a little bit more complex, because just because you're putting in good inputs does not mean that your mitochondria will operate better, because we have to factor in the negatives. So for instance, sleep. If we might pour in the most beautiful sun and food, but if we don't sleep, then our mitochondria will become senescent, or they don't work properly, or we're operating with faulty mitochondria. So then you can't produce the energy. So what we do then is have an approach where you can improve your energy inputs, but then you're also improving your battery in your body, your mitochondria. So, and it's not complicated. So it's really about the mitochondria and how we make energy. And that's why the cold therapy also comes in, because it allows us to tunnel our energy more efficiently. It's why seafood and grass-fed meats are important, because that actually gives us more energy for our mitochondria. So something along those lines. But again, at the end of the day, as you know, sleep is so important. So, and because that's when the magic of paralysis of sleep, that's when we have autophagy or apoptosis, where we can get rid of the bad mitochondria. And then we get more bang for our buck when we do the good things.
Got it. And so what we're talking about here is being aware of what's coming into our body, not just the food, but looking at the environment and how we're interacting with that, because our body is absorbing everything, good and bad. And so why not put our bodies in an environment where we can soak up the good energy, which is from grounding or sunlight and quality water and get out of the office and things like that. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about like why are people so unhealthy today? But I think the question and like the analogy I heard was that, a lot of I was understanding with health and nutrition is that health and food is kind of like the fuel that we're putting into our car. And that's really important. But the mitochondria was kind of the engine within the car. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. So the easy way to explain that is that if I've got a friend who said, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go and eat all of this good food, but if his engine is not working properly, all you're doing is stressing your engine. So if your car doesn't work well, you would not go on a long drive. You have to fix the engine. So, and it's exactly right. That's why people who they say, oh, they were healthy, they were athletes, but they died. Well, that's impossible to die if you're healthy. So there must have been something fundamentally wrong that they were doing. So therefore, that gets back to then having that improving your mitochondrial function, which happens during sleep. So you want to sleep with your cell phone away from you, perhaps turn your Wi-Fi off, really optimize the sleep so that your mitochondria can repair and strengthen. But then you must get that sunshine. You want to overload the system almost. You want to pour in the beautiful sunshine. You want to get the grounding energy. You want to have great friends, positive thoughts, gratitude, great quality water, probably European water, Perrier or San Pellegrino, seafood, eggs, good quality food made by the sun. So we want to become natural. So I think just to summarize your question is we want to maximize nature and natural light, natural food that was made by natural light, friends that are natural, who aren't prima donnas or who have gratitude. So if we have all of these good natural things, it's actually going to crowd out the bad. So you're going to do less of the bad stuff because that has to happen. If you do more good, you're going to do less bad. So having a bedtime, just different things like this. So and it's not a big essay on what to do. I summarize it in one page, and even just one simple page of habits. Seeing the morning sun to set your circadian rhythm, wearing blue light blocking glasses like we do to protect our melatonin that we made in the morning sun. So yeah, just simple things. It's not really complicated, but yeah, we're really working on that mitochondria, making sure our own engine functions so that we can then love life.
That's really, at the end of the day, why not love life more if you could?
Yeah.
If
Yes.
everyone had the option of here's a couple of ideas for you so you can love your life even more, everyone's going to say yes. So I'd love to kind of get into that in a second as well. But I think, yeah, what you said is so true, which is people are going to the gym or they're stressing themselves at work, building a business. They've got this adrenal kind of they've got their smashing coffee, going to the gym, pre-workouts. They're probably eating, a low-fat diet. They're not really looking after, like they're doing what most people would see would be healthy, wearing the nice runners, putting them the nice sunglasses on, going to the gym with all the fake light and then going to an office with all the fake light. Like these are things that, like, it's comfortable, these are just, it's sold to us that's how you get healthy, right? You do these things that we've seen in advertisements or radio or, whatever we've been marketed to. But it's so sad that it's not really helping people get healthy. And so it's so challenging. If you guys are out there, like if you're like trying to achieve your goals and whatever you're doing, if you've noticed that you've been doing that for quite some time and it's not working, it's time to shift it up and be flexible.
100%.
Change. Like,
and I think, sorry to interrupt, Zach, I think there as well is become a better observer and really observe the people who are healthy. So the reason, like, I'm 52 and I get a lot of people stop me and say, wow, your skin looks great, your energy. And then I'll say, well, why wouldn't you follow somebody like that? But we go and we follow Bob Harper, who had a heart attack from The Biggest Loser, or our role models aren't quite what we think they should be. Because I know lots of people who did the injuries from the too much exercise in the gym, and they had serious problems. So yeah, I just think as well, just on that point, is really analyze the people who think well, who look well, and then why. Because there's lessons everywhere. We just have to really see more, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of my intentions this year, is to be an even better listener, because there's life is definitely working for us, and sometimes whether you guys are listening to this podcast, this is a sign to keep listening, or you're here for a reason, or what you have been shared to, what's been presented to you, maybe look into that. And even if it looks kind of weird or it's not really like known, I love learning about the unknown. A critical mind, someone who learns and discovers things that are off the beaten path, are usually like the path less traveled is usually the one that's like most beneficial. And so I think that's really good, is to really, if you're going to get advice from anyone, get advice from someone who's walking their talk, like yourself, and, getting those insider tips, because you can accelerate a lot of change. So why are people so unhealthy? Like, let's look at, I'd love to just understand maybe the light equation, what are people missing here?
Well, I think the fundamental reason is that there's more money in sickness. So we've been, like you said, almost, I've done talks in the Philippines to doctors and a lot of other people. And I said, you can almost, the conventional wisdom, almost turn it upside down. So for instance, eggs were touted as we shouldn't have too many eggs because of cholesterol. Well, most people don't know what cholesterol is, and some people can't even spell it, and yet they're worried about eggs. Or the sun is bad for us, or the midday sun is bad for us. Well, these are just lies, because it's always about the context. Because if the midday sun, if I was black and I lived in Melbourne, the midday sun is never that strong compared to equatorial Sudan or somewhere where they live. So I think it's always about context. So the reason that we're so unhealthy is that people have followed the wrong advice. Sunscreen, which is a chemical that goes into your bloodstream, sunglasses, which block the natural frequencies of light that our brain needs, believing that bread, which unfortunately they poison with glyphosate in Australia and the US, is healthy, that vegetable oil is healthy, but it's toxic sludge. That, the sun is bad for you, or the sun, we have to really, it causes cancer. So whereas the sun actually creates all food on Earth, and the sun is the reason we have life on Earth. So of course, overdoing it is never a good thing, but you can build your tolerance to it. So to answer your question, why are people so unhealthy? Well, I think they've gone away from natural and nature, walking in the sun. Now we drive our car everywhere, in the office all the time, eating unnatural food, staying up too late, being addicted to our computer or our cell phone, sleeping with the Wi-Fi on and the cell phone near our beds. All of these things actually drain our energy. So what's happened is people aren't doing enough of the good, but they're overdosing on what's the bad. So it's a simple, just increase the good stuff, the natural, and that will reduce what's unnatural. So I think it's really that simple. We're following the wrong people, the ones who are unhealthy, and there's a reason for it. I've even seen people in the Philippines who are 100 years old, but they smoke in the sun. They have nice tans. So there's a reason for everything, and there's a reason why the 40-year-old had a stroke and a heart attack. Maybe he worked night shift, or she worked night shift. Maybe they were indoors all the time. Their sleep habits were bad. But I think probably one of the root causes is low vitamin D, because all-cause death, disease, virus increases with low vitamin D. And then so that's a major factor. So actually every day what I do is I'm looking at ways to build my vitamin D stores. I want beautiful brown skin, not burnt. I want to have high vitamin D levels, but that I don't test it. I just go by my energy, my sleep, my skin. So something like that. Yeah.
That's really important. And yeah, that's keep it simple. Keep it simple,
Yep.
guys. You know, and to be kind of put that, do an audit, do a review. You know, what's going well with our health, but also what could we improve on, and what are we going to do next time? And so looking
Yeah.
at those types of habits. And so what is like the ultimate morning routine, and what is the ultimate evening routine from your understanding?
Oh, okay. I love that. The morning is so critical. I wake without an alarm clock, and the first light that I see is sunlight in my eyes. So if I had to turn on a light, which I don't, I would put my blue blocking glasses on in the morning, but then I want to go out into the sunlight. One of the first things I do as well is I give my daughter a back rub. So she's 20 and she's going to university, but I love to transfer my positive energy to her, to give her, wake her up with a nice back rub and a neck rub. It just makes me feel good. And of course, she appreciates it. I give my son a hug, and then we actually prepare for our run. So we go for sometimes a 5 kilometer or 8 kilometer run. Mine's barefoot. We greet people when we run. I gave a few people my book as I was running. We make friends, we see dogs, we look at nature, we laugh, and then we quite often do cold therapy. So we jump into the ocean after our run, catch up with friends if we can. Like today, we caught up with Kylie, Brad, Bonnie, Larry, and we have a laugh, and then we go home. And we always do that exercise fasted. And then we make a good breakfast. Yesterday, I only ate once. I had 3 boiled eggs with oysters, mussels, and a special fermented vegetable kinilaw dish that I created from the Philippines. So that lasted me all day. And then a gratitude journal. That's a must. Actually, I call mine a gratitude and positivity journal, because I write there positive self-affirmations, just to really, because when we talk, our body listens. So I'm really loving myself, not allowing negative self-talk, but then I'm also feeling good by writing out the people I love. So I write past gratitude, future gratitude, the people I met yesterday, dogs that we met. So it also helps with my memory. So I love doing that. Quite often I'll take a screenshot and send it to one of the friends that I have the gratitude for. So yeah, I eat a good breakfast. It's usually, I try to prioritize eggs, seafood, some form of green vegetables, make my children breakfast, and yeah, drink also in the morning when I wake up. I always drink my European water. So I have 2 glasses. And I guess a different one that I do as well is I usually have, on an empty stomach, baking soda, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, and the European water. That's just alkalizing my body, gives my system a bit of a flush out. So that's another one that I do. But yeah, it's a great question. And also what I do is I've got a checklist. So my morning routine is so important that I've written it out, and I make sure that I stick. Not always, but it's a priority for me to say, did I get the sun energy? Did I get grounding energy? So some days I'm thinking about wearing my shoes, and I say, no, I want the ground to eat the earth's energy, which is what we're doing. So yeah, so that's that one. At nighttime, I definitely don't eat at nighttime. Very small, if ever. Some high-fat cheese, something like that. Blue light blocking glasses are on, and yeah, reading a book, computer, perhaps sometimes connecting with friends like Sam, and doing things like that. So I'm doing most of my activities during the daylight hours, and I'm trying to restrict the amount of time that I spend in fake light. So yeah, just like I don't want to eat fake food, I don't want fake friends. I want to maximize my time in natural light and then minimize my time in fake light. And then of course our Wi-Fi is always off at night when we sleep.
Beautiful. That's very, very powerful routine there. I'm actually excited to have that dish, and I have that you said there, mussels and oysters and eggs, and so
I'll send it to you.
Okay, that'd be good. So I'd love to dissect some of this for a second. So you're saying 1 meal a day, is that because I heard that you should be, for mitochondrial health, eating within an hour of waking up? Is that right?
Okay, great. It's what happens is it really depends on you. If you were, I guess, with diabetes or hypertension, and your leptin, your electron counter in your brain was not working so well, then absolutely within an hour of waking up, get the sun in your eyes, and that's going to help you with your circadian rhythm and that leptin, the electron counter. But for me, because I guess I've been doing this for a while, it's not as important for me now. So what I'm saying there, I guess, again, it's context. So for somebody starting out, somebody who wants to rein in their hunger, or to eat better food, absolutely go for the eggs and seafood and butter and beautiful, beautiful breakfast. And then that saying, breakfast like a king, I agree with that. And it just depending on your routine and what you do, as to when breakfast comes in. So for me, because I've been doing it for a while, I do my exercise fasted. I use an outdoor gym as well. It's after I only eat my breakfast once my children have had theirs, and then I'm ready to go. And then because it tends to be 10 o'clock or so, then I quite often, not always, just make that my one meal for the day. But at night, if I get hungry, I might have some cheese, camembert or brie, gorgonzola, or something light.
That is fascinating. I've never heard anyone just to have cheese for dinner. And so, and
Yeah.
is that you going high fat, no protein at night, no carbs, and why not at nighttime? Like, everyone's like, eat at 7 or eat at 6, or like here in Australia, in the Gold Coast, it's still quite bright at 7 o'clock anyway. Or in Sydney, it's like bright at 8:30 at night. The sun's only going down. So, what's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, that's really simple one to answer, because remember now, for the people out there, we've got all this beautiful energy in our body. We've stored the energy on our skin. We've got our energy is flowing in our body. And when we go to bed, in the paralysis of sleep, with the Wi-Fi off, the cell phone off, that's when we can actually get rid of the poor functioning mitochondria or the bad mitochondria. So, but if I'm diverting energy to digestion, then that process of cell regeneration, the mitochondrial regeneration, is not optimal. So it's like if I've got a cut on my finger or I've got cancer in my body will prioritize the cancer before it helps me to lose weight. My body will help fix my finger before it maybe helps my eyesight with that beautiful energy that I've got. So it's the same thing. We want to eat during daylight mainly, but we want to restrict it at night because of that digestion factor. Because it does take a lot of energy to digest food. So imagine a steak eaten at 7 o'clock at night. So again, you can just training your body. So for the people who think, that's crazy talk, I can't do it. Well, if you just ate 2 beautiful meals, one for breakfast and one late lunch or early dinner, you've got all the great food you need. Your body's happy. It's got the resources it needs. Your brain will say, I'm not hungry. And then you can have optimal sleep and regeneration of the mitochondria we talked about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Giving the body more energy to focus on the more important things.
Yes.
And the Wi-Fi component of that. So, having no Wi-Fi when you sleep, and, what is it what is Wi-Fi doing to us on that cellular level?
Yeah. So again, I guess what we can do is, just to make it simple so we don't put anybody off, is that we're talking about natural frequencies. So the sun is a natural frequency, electromagnetic field. As soon as you have your cell phone and the Wi-Fi, it's a non-native, it's not natural, and it's sending signals. So, and it doesn't go around our body, it goes through. So it actually can put holes in our brain, make our gut leaky, it dehydrates us. So, and all of those things will then affect the quality of our sleep. It will affect our ability to regenerate. So we don't want that. If we did all this beautiful work during the day, and we went to an outdoor gym and we did some grounding and we did all of these great things, we want to maximize our bang for our buck. And we can't use the Wi-Fi when we're asleep. The phone, you can just charge it in another room, unplug everything you can, have a dark room, and your mitochondria then have a fighting chance to regenerate. And again, it's a simple one as well, is if somebody went to the gym and ruined their muscles or stretched and strained their muscles, they only get stronger when they sleep. So why wouldn't you want to optimize that by turning off electrical devices and Wi-Fi? So it's quite simple, really. But yeah, so and you can't use it when you sleep, so why not? Give it a go.
And think about the sleep. I sleep so well when I'm camping or at this new house
Yes.
now where there's not very good connection. I sleep so much better. I wake up, I'm like, whoa, that was a whole nother world. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really good reminder. And how do you describe, you were saying before, when walking on the earth, our body eats these electrons or eats this energy. Does it happen on dry soil? Does it have to be wet? Like, what's ideal? Is it?
Great question. Actually, I did a Melbourne Marathon, 42.2 kilometers in October 2019. And I did it with fasted. So I didn't eat breakfast beforehand. I did it with my main training was doing the cold therapy. So I did virtually zero run training. And then the last 10 kilometers, I took my shoes off and I ran on grass, on concrete, and I finished the race really well and recovered beautifully. And when I took my shoes off at the 32-kilometer mark, I felt natural. I can personally feel the energy, and it's uplifting for me. So what happens is, when we get, especially in water, on the edge of the ocean water, we're getting the electrons from the earth, the magnetic field effect. But the next best way would be then also to perhaps wet grass. And then you can still get it from the ground. You still get the grounding effect even when you pat a dog that's grounded. Hugging a tree, we actually get energy the same as eating a banana or broccoli by hugging a tree. That's the fact. It's called the inverse Hall magnetic spin effect. But basically, we're eating the Earth's grounding energy, the magnetic earth field effect, through our feet or our palms of our hands. And I feel it.
This is amazing. So can you just say that again? The inverse, can you just say?
Hall magnetic spin effect. And it's just to show that it's been tested. And again, I don't go deep into the science, but feel it. Go to the beach and walk with your shoes off and see how you feel. Don't wear sunscreen, maximize your sun exposure, and then put on a shirt and a hat and see how you sleep. So again, just do your own little experiment and see how you go with it. Like you said, you sleep well when you have an area, when we go camping. So we can just do our own self experiments.
This is where my friend and I, Brandon and I, we did a 13-day water fast. So we don't recommend this to anybody, and everything on this podcast, please just go and research it yourself. Don't take our word for it. And if you have any serious medical conditions, please obviously chat to your medical practitioner or whatever, whatever those people are. But so I'd like to, share that we did a 13-day water fast. We were using the HEALY for the frequencies for cleansing, the impurities, for energy, for immune system, for sleep. And then doing the sunrises, sleeping, like I was sleeping so well. And my body was very calm. Obviously, I had no sugar in my body. My body was totally like a bit slow motion, I would call it, slow flow motion. And but I knew that there were my mindset to get through not eating. We were obviously drinking some greens powders and some other supplements, a few things to help like chelate, get the toxins out of our body. But it was that mindset shift of my body is already eating right now. It's eating the energy from here, the prana, the chi, or the sunlight. It's eating that, or it's eating all the chips that I've had the last 10 years where I've overeaten, or it's just amazing. It's utilizing the grounding energy as well. So that's such a great reminder from people just to realize that, if you're outside, connect with nature and you're going to be actually fed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then sometimes as well is like, you'll talk to Dr. Jack Cruz later on. He'll say that a one-piece bikini for a lady is a mistake because we need the sun on our stomach. Even a t-shirt for an Aboriginal or an African person in summer is a mistake because they need that sunlight more than all the white or the brown person. It's free. It's free.
That's it, man. Life, we've created these barriers to help that have disconnected us and helped us, we've forgotten how amazing life is. And because we don't see it, we don't see light. Well, you see it, it's light, but you don't see yourself eating it. It doesn't taste like anything. But that doesn't mean that it's, just because it's not going and feeling and smelling, this kind of taste of bacon or eggs or whatever that smell, it doesn't mean it's not actually improving our life. And that's where I think a lot of the challenge is actually cutting off from the reward part of the brain or the actual stimulus of, external gratification. And as I've started to fast or just connect to nature and, slow down in my life, appreciating the little things, and we're living in an abundant world at all times. So and that gratitude component, I think, is a massive reminder as well. A gratitude journal, sending out 10 acts of kindness every day. Is that just like a message or a call or a smile or a wave? Like, what did you do yesterday?
Ideally, I stop people and I talk because I'm walking about maybe 20 kilometers a day. So, for instance, I stopped and talked to an Indian gentleman called Deane. And I just said, hey, have you open for a couple of ideas? And then I said, look, with your brown skin, beautiful brown skin, I said, it'd be ideal if you took your shirt off while you were walking. Your sunglasses, wouldn't it be great to see the natural light because you're actually adapted for a tropical region? And he was really, we're now friends on Instagram. And he really appreciated it. So, and again, I felt good. And I know I've changed lives by doing that. And some people tell me to bugger off. And that's cool. If you haven't got time or you're not interested, no problem. But I feel good doing it. So it's, sometimes it's picking up rubbish, smiling. But I really try to go out of my way to talk to people, to connect. Because that's how we make friends. It starts with hello. And who knows, that person could be my best friend one day. So we need friends
just to reconnect, and it's free. Sometimes it is a bit uncomfortable to say hello, but as they say, a stranger is just someone we haven't said hello to yet. So a friend, a stranger, a friend is just someone, a new friend. So why not? That's really beautiful, and that's such a great reminder is to go for a walk, say hi to some people. How good do you feel when you've just, hey, how are you? What's good? How's your life? It's going to get you out of your comfort zone. And when we can live in a life, they say, do something every day that frightens us. And so that might be a great way. And at the end of the day, when we put our heads on the pillow, we can go, okay, I've really squeezed life to the best of my ability today. And I think that's a great reminder. I'm always trying to say
Yeah, I
hello,
think,
good morning, and things like that with the dog. We go for a walk in the morning, but yeah, having a chat, that's another step.
yeah, well, and again, especially because you and I guess those who have the privilege to know have the duty to share. So I really believe that as well. So somebody wearing an African American wearing sunglasses, I'm just going to say, hey, did you know? Did you consider this? So I'm not telling you, I always say, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, giving you a different opinion that you might not have been on your radar before. And 9 times out of 10, people are fantastic. They really appreciate it. And like you said, it makes me feel good. And yeah, we've got the privilege of that knowledge. And we just came across it, luckily, or through hard work or random ways. So yeah, I just want to see if I can help more people.
That's so good. And someone's asking here in the chat, talking about mental illness. Her son has autism and eats only bread, soyas, biscuits, toast, muffins, only white hard food. I think of all the crap that it is. I would love him to eat fresh fruits and veggies. He sees an OT for his sensory issues. So have you seen from, working with so many people, a difference between, say, people's mental health and, some of these habits, and can may mental illness be, which it is, just so unidentified in some cases? How do you define mental health? So what impact have you noticed some of these habits, and whether it's the cold exposure or the sun exposure or changing the diet has on people's mental health as well?
Yeah, great. Thanks for the question. What I've got is I've seen in 7 years of my coaching, I've had a lady who in the Philippines who had crippling anxiety, went to the hospital 2 times a week. By simply improving her energy inputs, reducing what drained her energy, exactly what we've talked about, she no longer has any of those issues. A current client in Melbourne has anxiety, and you should see her smile now. Her face looks great. She's not perfect yet, but her journey is fun. And what she's doing is she's doing more of the good and crowding out the bad. So what I would say is the young boy, I think, it's a challenge. But again, if you put that challenge in your gratitude journal and say, I'm up for the challenge. It didn't happen to me, it's happening for me. So what she could do there is, if the boy likes white rice, maybe try to hide some white egg whites and egg yolks inside. Maybe pour coconut oil. Maybe just try to get him outside more often instead of on a blue lit device. So just walking more, going out into the sun and seeing a dog, or just creating these new habits that will increase the energy input. So 100%, I believe that the young boy can absolutely improve. But 100%, if he keeps eating exactly the same food and doing the same thing, it cannot get better. So that's the one realization. And that's why she asked the question, which is great. So let's crowd out the bad, and let's do more of the good. So how can we get into the sun more? Can he do painting outside? Can he go to the park? Can he do these other things? Can we get his sleep better? Can we turn the Wi-Fi off? Can we hide some good food in the bad food and gradually increase that? Maybe we have to change our language around the egg that I eat in the morning. Oh, my egg, wow. And then eventually the young boy says, let me try. So I'm not sure, but if we give up hope, then there is no hope. So every day we say, let's keep trying. It will not defeat us. So and sometimes you need a coach, somebody who can come and help, a different set of ears, different set of eyes. So there's always hope, and there's absolutely the sun, the water, the grounding. I had a client in the Philippines who the doctor said that with her cerebral palsy, that expect her to be dead within a year, because she had her fits and everything else. 5 years later, she's still thriving, because what did we do? We put her wheelchair in the sun more. We got her to hold a tree, drink better water, increase the quality of the nutrition. And now she's still rocking it. So that's one story that I absolutely love, because the doctors gave up on her, but we didn't.
Amazing. This has been an insightful chat, and I really appreciate, just hearing your posture and your belief, and you've lived through it. And so if anyone's out there feeling uncertain and wanting that guidance, please reach out. And whether it's primedforlife.com, and I'll put it in, it's in the show notes around here. But we didn't even talk about the cold water therapy, or if as you're building a beautiful community in Melbourne. But we do have to kind of wrap up in a second. So I'd love to know, if anyone's out there in Melbourne specifically, reach out to Chad and get connected to the community. I think that's super great if you're in that area. I know Melbourne was kind of a dud area last year with all COVID. So if you're out, what an exciting time to really get off the couch and get connected to a new community. I'd love to know, just a final question, Chad, if you could send a message to every single person's smartphone right now, one message, could be a quote or a phrase or whatever you wanted. If you could just send them a direct text message and they're going to all read it right now, what would be that one message that you like to send to everyone?
Whoa, that's a beauty. Let me just think. So I would probably say, embrace and chase the sun and all things natural, including food that is made naturally and by the sun. So I think if we go big ticket items, there's nothing more big ticket than that. Because if the sun goes away, we all die. So, and again, of course, there's context, because if I'm white, lily white, and I'm living in Africa, well, maybe I have to build up my solar callus. But you can do that over time. And the seafood and the eggs, they actually have a purpose in making that vitamin D from sulfated cholesterol in your skin. So your food does matter, but it's more of a vitamin D story. So we get the benefit from the sun on our solar panel. And that's something we maybe didn't emphasize enough, is that we not only are we getting energy from the sun, we're storing that energy on our skin. And then that, exactly like the leaf of a tree, we're then utilizing that energy. We absorb the light and we use light. So it's free. And people, just by absorbing more light and utilizing the light, they will have better sleep, more energy. Their mitochondria have a better chance. So yeah, it's a simple one. It's free. And it's cool. It's fun.
It is cool to be healthy and vital. It's our life that we're talking about at the end of the day. And, these are free tips, free things that are out there. And if you guys are, as I said, needing some guidance, it's always good to have someone there as a coach. So reach out to Chad, primedforlife.com. I'd love to quickly know, when you said eggs, is it cooked eggs or raw eggs, or doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter. If it's a great quality egg, free range, etc., then you can have it raw. But I have mine poached, fried in butter or coconut oil, or any which way. So omelets, just eggs. My record for eggs is 46 eggs for breakfast.
What? 46?
Yep. As part of a competition in the Philippines, Boracay in the Philippines, and I set the new record. So I got 3 free meals, and the eggs were big. They weren't just small eggs. But my cholesterol is elite. My HDL is high. My triglycerides are low. But I don't even look at the panel, because my skin is good. My eyesight is good. My waist is a good waist size. My sleep is good. My energy. So I don't bother with the cholesterol panel. The one good test to do would be vitamin D.
Oh, Super insightful. Again, thank you so much for your time. And
Hey, Zach, just one quick one. I just want to invite people, if you don't mind. I know we're winding up, but this cold water coach. Today, I'm actually looking after a dog, teaching the dog the importance of the cold and grounding. And the reason it's forethought of my mind is that one of our friends, Larry, is in a wheelchair with multiple sclerosis. And we actually get him out of his wheelchair, or gets out. We drag him along the sand on a tarpaulin, and then he goes into the cold water. And at the end of his 30-minute session, he can use his legs more functionally than before he went in the cold. But the beautiful part as well is that his dog, Bonnie, was on anti-inflammatory medication. We've put Bonnie into the cold water, trained her to love it, and now she no longer has her medication. So it's just that I could go on all day with the benefits of this lifestyle cold water coach, because it's no medication, like we said at the beginning. It's natural. So yeah, why not try that?
That's it, guys. Oh, thank you so much, Chad, and everyone, looking at this on the live is loving it. They're saying thank you, thanks for the great advice. So
Wow.
This has been powerful and insightful, and I really just, as the intention was at the beginning, practical things that we can implement today and in the next weeks, months, and years to transform our health. So again, thank you everyone for watching, and Chad, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, pleasure, Zach. A lot of fun.